Welcome back. So let me quickly invite Dr. Lewis, if he's around, to take us through the next sessions. Thank you very much. Please, let's welcome Dr. Lewis.
Okay, so let's move on. We had a very insightful first half of the morning. We will now move from health to agriculture, and I can immediately invite the two people that will join me in the panel. The first one is Dr. Daniel Zizenio, who is my director, the deputy director of the WACI, and I will introduce you in a minute, and a good friend because we've been working together at WACI. And then Dr. Amos Rutherford, who is the CEO of Legacy Crop Improvement Center. Please join us. Who I also had the pleasure to meet in his own company 2 years ago. So before starting our presentations, let me just introduce you briefly. Dr. Daniel is the deputy, as I said, is the deputy director of center leader of WACI, and WACI is the West Africa Center of Excellence for Crop Improvement, and I know you all know them, so. But maybe you don't know Daniel. Daniel is he's serving several boards at the university. They've done an amazing job at WACI. I had the privilege to accompany the project since 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. So it's impressive to see what they've achieved and what they're doing and how they have been growing. And he's also a member of the University of Ghana Academic Board. And you did your PhD in the UK, in Nottingham. And then came back to Ghana to develop this wonderful Center of Excellence. So I will present Dr. Amos in a minute, but I will ask Daniel, I think you have a presentation, yeah? You have a short presentation because our focus, is on development of companies. I was wondering whether to call it a startup. It's not a startup anymore, maybe. But I will pass it to Daniel to give an overview, because it's important to hear from the center to understand how do you start building these partnerships, and then we'll go back to the industry. So Daniel, please take the floor.
So I'll be speaking to the subjects from the center's point of view. The establishment of WACI was not a happenstance. It was a carefully thought through initiative via our founding director. We established WACI with partnership as the cornerstone. We partnered with a world-class university, Cornell University, to establish WACI, benchmark against the best global standards. And you will see what I mean through the subsequent slides I will be sharing. So we have mainly two programs, PhD in plant breeding and MPhil in seed science and technology. We also partner with the Department of Crop Science and the School of Agriculture to run other programs. Why do we need to university partnerships when it comes to agriculture? We need partnership to help us drive our research innovation agenda. We want to do impactful research, and we need partnership to be able to do that. We also need to build human capacity. And it will interest you to know that WACI has trained global thinkers. In fact, there is not a single event you go to, either on the continent or outside the continent, where Africans are invited, that you will not see a wacky trained plant breeder. They are all over the place. They are transforming agriculture on the continent, and they are also holding leadership positions. So we are helping to build capacity, and of course, we cannot do this alone. My director always says that there is not a single institution globally that can do anything that can help solve the world's problems alone. You need partnership. And through partnership, we've been able to do that. Also, we need to strengthen policy and advocacy. We need our inputs, provide evidence-based research to shape policy, agricultural policies. And also, we need to enhance global collaboration. We need to create a nexus of partners, university, industry, all working together, policymakers, to ensure we bring change when it comes to, we transform agriculture. And ultimately, we want to bring smiles to the faces of farmers and also consumers alike. So socio-economic development is also key through partnership. Now let's look at WACI. As I've mentioned a few minutes ago, WACI is transforming agriculture on the continent. Our trained plant breeders are becoming champions, making inroads, developing innovations that are transforming the continent's fortunes when it comes to agriculture. We have trained 167 in totals, both PhD and MPhils. And as I mentioned, our trained plant breeders are holding leadership positions globally. It will interest you to know that currently, when you go to the Crop Research Institute, which is the institution mandated by the country to do agricultural research, their director is WACI trained. Their deputy director is WACI trained. When you go to the Savannah Agricultural Research Institute, also in Tamale, their deputy director is WACI trained. And this cuts across the whole region. Similar positions are held by WACI graduates when you go across the regions we've trained or we've built capacity for. Also, our graduates have released over 279 improved crop varieties that are in the hands of farmers. You can imagine what this is doing when it comes to transforming agriculture on the continent. And of course, we are able to do this with the over 40 global partnerships that we've built. As I mentioned, no institution can do this alone. You need partners. Our mantra is to train Africans in Africa for Africa. But having said that, we still collaborate with the global north to ensure we carry out our mandate. What are some of the key factors for successful partnerships? You need to ensure that what do you want to do? How do you get there? You form strategic partners who also share the same vision with you. For instance, at WACI, we want to tackle food insecurity and also develop climate-smart innovations. How do we do that? We need to partner with strategic partners, people who share the same vision with us to ensure that we carry out our mandate. And also we need to leverage on our institutional strengths. People always are interested in excellence. We have built excellence into our program. We conduct high-impact research. We have regional expertise, and we also have innovative programs. So we leverage that with other partners that also have cutting-edge technologies who can also help us contribute to what we are doing. And we also need to leverage our resource mobilization potential. As you can see, we started from 11.5 million, but through our 17 years of existence, we've raised over $40 million for capacity building for Africa. And of course, partners want to know what you can do. And we also have used that to develop state-of-the-art technology, laboratories, and also facilities to help us do what we are doing. "17 years of impact and key success stories." As I mentioned earlier, we've built capacity for, in fact, it's currently 20 African countries. That is where our graduates are coming from. And out of that, we have 38 of them being female. You know, it's quite difficult to get female on plant breeding programs. And again, the way the WACI model is structured, it encourages women to come into the program. Because you come to the University of Ghana for 1 year, you do your coursework, and you go back to your home country. So it makes it comfortable for the men to leave their wives to go away, knowing that they will come back in 1 year to come and continue to stay with them. So they easily allow them. And it will interest you to know that our Nigerian counterparts always bring their wives pregnant. I don't know why, but we have facilities to cater for them. So it makes the program very attractive for the women. We've also built capacity for over 5,000 farmers. We have developed viable PPPs, public-private partnerships. Our students have published over 270 publications in high-impact journals. And together with our students, we've attracted over $100 million for agricultural research on the continent. We have done over 40 million. Our students have done over 60 million plus. This shows the quality of training that we give our students through partnerships. And also, we are just not an academic institution. We have research programs. As we teach students to develop varieties, we also develop our own varieties. And of course, we are an academic institution. We need a private partner to take whatever we do to the next level. That's why Dr. Amos is here. We have developed one of the highest yielding maize varieties in the country by an academic institution. And again, we cannot take this to the market by ourselves. We need a private partner. That's why Dr. Amos is here from LCIC. We also have tomato varieties, one of the highest yielding tomato varieties, hybrid tomato varieties currently in the country. We haven't left the youth behind. And as you know, Mr. Kofi Annan of blessed memory said we should make agriculture sexy. Agriculture should be seen as a business. That is the only way the youth will be encouraged to venture into agriculture. So what we did was to establish an enterprise hub for the young people to turn their ideas into businesses. And through partnerships, again, we partnered with the Australian High Commission to refurnish the place. And we've also partnered with global startups, entrepreneurship centers, like the Erasmus Center for Entrepreneurship, and also global startup labs in the US. And of course, recently too, we've partnered with a private sector donor, the KGL Foundation, who has given us some money to train seed entrepreneurs. Our people allow us to attract strategic partners. Again, through the initiative of our director, we have instituted a seed grant system where every faculty can access 50 million USD, which will help you to generate preliminary data, which will help you attract the giants in the rest of the world to attract them to your program. And I can confirm that every single program you have on the board there has attracted strategic partners all over the world. And it's currently bringing fruits already. Through this initiative, we have the Chinese government has come to WACI, and a program is currently being developed, which will lead to the establishment of the Chinese African Agricultural Academy of Sciences in Ghana, with WACI playing a leading role. I cannot end this talk without paying a glowing tribute to the man behind the big, hairy, audacious vision, Professor Eric Dankwa. Because of him, we are where we are today. Dr. Yao talked about brain drain during his talk earlier. After his PhD at Cambridge, he decided to come back to Ghana. And obviously, you can imagine what people will be saying at the time. Why are you back? I mean, sometimes even our family members will think you have been bewitched. because they expect that you stay there and continue to, you know what will happen when you are there. So he decided to sacrifice himself because he believed no child in Africa deserves to sleep without a good, nutritious meal. So he came down to help establish this center that has achieved all these successes over these years. And he's a double laureate. He won the 2022 Africa Food Prize and also the 2018 Getchera World Agricultural Prize. And also has won several other awards in recognition of what he has done for the continent. We call him the father of plant breeding education in Africa. If you look at the numbers speak for themselves. Our graduates speak for themselves. And in conclusion, I will say what are some of the key lessons from WACI? Align partnership with shared visions, goals, and regional priorities. When you do that, you will succeed. And we also have to leverage your institutional strength and expertise. You have to ensure sustainable funding through collaborative resource mobilization. And we call on university partnerships to be scaled up for innovation for food security. And also, WACI's model should be adopted and replicated for impactful, inclusive collaboration. On this note, in case you are not on this extensive network of partners, you are missing out. Next time we do such a presentation, you should find yourself there if you are not already there. Because we are doing something great. We are transforming the continent when it comes to agriculture, and we expect you to come on board if you are not already there. On this note, I thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah. Thank you, Daniel. It's, well, the results speak for themselves, but I think it's impressive to see if you go there and if you talk to them, it's impressive to the capacity of resource mobilization. I think it comes from the global ambition and the global will and that you have put in the process, and that is really, for me, really impressive. The willing to develop in Africa for Africa, but to have a global perspective. And I think this is the motto that leads to the capacity to generate resources. So we're now, I will now invite you in a minute Dr. Amos Rutherford, and he's the founder of the Legacy Crop Improvement Center, and he will talk about that in a minute. And he's also the president of the National Seed Trade Association of Ghana, and he has a PhD in crop science from the University of Ghana. I think you moved this from a wonderful career in international research centers, from a challenging career on a startup, on something that you develop yourself. So it's not written here, but I'm sure that you are like ambitious, resilient, workaholic, and maybe a bit crazy because he's swimming in the pool of sharks, and you'll show us that he's beating them. So it's the seed market. I would say that is one of the most competing and challenging sectors in all the economic sector. So it's really challenging, and you're doing something. I don't want to take to raise too much expectation, but you're doing a great job. So please, we want to listen from you and your example.
Okay, thank you. For inviting me. I think small boys like this, like my type, don't have chance to stand before great people like you. If I go home today, it's like I'm in heaven. So I can tell my wife I've get close to heaven today. So thank you very much for that. But what Dr. did not add was that you just add, I'm doing what I'm doing today not because I school 10 years continuously at the University of Ghana, But I'm sure if the work have not been established at my days as a student, I will not be doing this business. My mother wanted me to be agriculture economist. He said, if I finish agriculture economics, I'm going to be working at a bank. You know, when you come from the village, everybody is expecting you to finish school and deliver. So I thought when you are adding credential of those that you have trained, you should have said, oh, the small boy who is sitting here is also your product. Not necessarily from academia, but through your training. So that's also be part of your... Thank you for this. So I come from private sector, and I work for Legacy Crop Improvement Center. As Louis said, I also head the National Seed Trade Association of Ghana as the national president. And when I look at the topic we are going to discuss, I was looking at it and said, whether I'm the right person, because the industry that I operate in, I always said, is very malnourished. That private sector that's supposed to partner academia to do the commercialization of the information that are generated, we don't have that private sector. That capacity is not there. So it's more like on top industry that we have to actually pay attention to. Even though the private sector may be malnourished, as I said, it's a whole lot of resources that is not being utilized there. So what are we going to look like? From our point of private sector, I don't want to worry too much. There are these things that you know already. We are looking at the resource technical base of the university, which the university is already doing. The track record of the university, what are they doing that in agriculture sector, that the private sector will want to identify. Because nobody wants to go to place that is not profitable. We all want to associate with something that gives us a good result. So we want that. Okay, we also want to know the kind of technology that you have and how transferable those technologies are. So sometimes in academia, when we are in a private sector like I do, we tend to say in our local dialogue, we say, these are Bokulong people. They take things for so long, forgetting that the principle that define our work as a private sector people are defined by the work of academia. When those principles change, then we find ourselves wanting. So we want to be sure whatever capacity that the university has, whether those technologies are very transferable to us, whether we can use them to generate our work, how successful are they for our own commercialization. Because what can happen in academia is that it can look good in terms of publication, but its scalability and commercialization may not be profitable for the businessman. To every businessman outside there, every cedi, every $1 that is invested, the shareholder need dividend on that money. So we look at things from that perspective. Okay, what kind of infrastructure that's available? I'm talking of physical infrastructures that are available to support. So some of these infrastructures sometimes needs to be provided at private sector, but the whole academia also have to have those molding tools to be able to advance this technology that we are looking for. I came earlier to listen to the first speakers or earlier speakers. He mentioned the private sector doing its own research. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be, but not for everything. And as I alluded to earlier, the private sector that we have here cannot do things themselves because financially they are very weak in terms of. So they'll be looking to the universities to see what capacity they have in terms of quality, how far we can assess those things. But it should be a win-win partnership, not more like somebody is feeding on somebody. Then we also want to look at the human resource of the university. There are times there are quality people in the department, but you see in like our society, we have a lot of bureaucracy. So people slow down movement. Every private sector man, time is not your friend. Because once people put money in your company and you are looking for investment for that money, you come to the university, there's a technology system there, and you say, can you sign an agreement? You go and say, oh, the thing is in somewhere, it's missing, or they are working on it, and it's taking 1 year. No. That investment will move away. So how speed, how fast we can be with those people who are working on those things are very important to us. Sometimes we don't take attention, we don't pay attention to that variable. They are very important. Then we also want to look at the message to press. In most of our universities are public institutions. Maybe WACI is very lucky. You guys have semi-autonomous this thing. Good. But things slow down. And I'm saying, as a private sector people, we are not patient for that. once things slow down, of course, nobody is saying that let's circumvent the system, not do the right thing legally. But we also have to pay attention to time. Because if somebody give you $1 million, let's invest in the legacy, and the legacy come to work and said, oh, you have this technology, can we take it forward? And the process delay, the $1 million will not be wasting there. Maybe it's a loan from a bank. A bank is taking interest on that. We probably look for alternative solution for that particular solution, okay? Then we have to also look at the partnership that we are looking, the model. Okay. As I said, when you look at our context, sometimes we try to import things from Europe and America to this society. It will not work. For instance, if you want to deal with a smallholder farmers in this country, it's a very difficult job to do. So the investor come to the place and technology is available. They say, oh, we want to have partners. And the investor say, oh, we want to get exact this amount of money for this. With that, moving along with that partner to see how we can get that technology to the farmers first. So it's more like we have to prototype that technology to the farmers in order to see whether the partnership will work. But there are times that we are looking forward that, oh, we have this technology, we want to sell it, we want to get royalty for it. The business is also thinking how the market will respond to that technology first. Once we are not sure of that technology, then it means the uptake of that technology by the company is now slowing down. We prefer to deal with existing technology that the farmers are already appreciating, they are paying for. Because that one, your investment is guaranteed. Good. Then the next thing is we want to also look at the economic factors. What is the cost of the partnership? How much am I going to pay on this? How much am I going to get from this partnership? There are kind of partnerships that sometimes I sit in this country, people bring to me. It's like marry your wife and asking your wife to go back to the ex-boyfriend for chop money. You read a document and you feel like you want to treat that. I said those are economic costs on us as a business. Of course, you also don't want the other partner to get teached, but you want a collaborative win. So there are people who are bringing technology, you are launching that technology, and you realize the cost of that technology is outweigh your dividend that you are getting. It means that where it may be a good technology in academia, on the research institution, but it will be rejected by the guys who have to push it forward. Okay. Then, work at the innovation that is available and adaptability. Once a technology is good in academic space, it doesn't necessarily translate it in terms of making money. Because, as I said earlier in my previous slide, sometimes these technologies are not scalable in terms of its commercial value. So we need also to pay attention to do that. What are the needs of the market? Actually, sometimes we do top-down approach in terms of research, but sometimes we also do bottom-up approach to see what the market is saying, what do they want, so that when we are putting our money, we know what we are really doing, so that we don't bring the technology to the space and find ourselves wanting about that. Okay, good. Then the partnership delivery. Sometimes we assume that the private sector on its own is a good machine that can move. And so the partners who said, oh, you guys will support this, then we stop there. Okay. Now, but there is a deficiency in that company that nobody is paying attention to. That partnership, as I said, it has to be win-win. You have to make sure everybody moves. Because once your partner collapses, automatically you're also collapsing. So it's your duty to make sure that partner does not collapse, moves with you so that everything you are doing carry forward. On that note, before I end, the last thing I have not put here is that the private sector also have to. Thank you. The private sector also have to make sure that they deliver a good return to the investor that they are partnered with. As I said, it's a win-win affair. So all these things I said, what I've left around, behind that I have not told you is what the private sector have to do. The private sector job is to support research and investors. Okay, but the investors have to take a space to make sure you move these people, let them understand what they really want to do. Then the return that they generate in those companies, a portion can be sent to support the work academia is doing. Thank you.